What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to do another Final Fantasy TCG video. Opus IX is releasing at the end of the week. Pre-releases did just happen this past weekend. There are 14 legends in the set, so I figured we might as well go ahead and rank them. Huge thank you to everybody over on the Facebook group who joined in my poll and helped me out. I've largely followed what you said, though I'll be honest, there is one that I've bumped up a few spaces because I wanted to. As always, let's argue in the comment section, but let's do so nicely. At the bottom, in at number 14, we've got Wall. Sorry if I get any of the pronunciations wrong. Wall is a 4 CP 9,000 power creature, which is high. The problem is you can only pay with fire, wind, earth or water CP. And you've got to use CP of 2 or more different elements to play it onto the field. It's too awkward. When it's put from the field into the break zone, you choose a forge your opponent controls, deal it 9,000 damage. I'm all in favour of that, and I'm all in favour of the 4 cost 9,000 power. I just think it's too gosh darned awkward. In at number 13, we've got Luso. Luso looks so good. 2 CP, 5,000 power, that's fine. For each forge you control other than Luso, you get 1,000 power. If there are 3 or more different elements among forges you control, you get First Strike and Brave. And when you attack, if there are 5 or more different elements amongst forges you control, you deal your opponent 1 point of damage straight off the bat. It sounds amazing on the face of it, and it will be if you can ever get it to work. Now, to be fair, I've seen some people point out the potential combo here with Yuri. And to be fair, according to ffdex.com, Yuri does find a way into 12% of decks. She's also public enemy number 1 when she's on the field. It's not going to last long enough to work. If you can get this working optimally, Luso's going to be amazing. I'm just a bit apprehensive that you're going to be able to. In at number 12, we've got Vayne, a card which I want to love. 5 CP, 9,000 power, all the forge opponent controls gain at the end of your turn. If you don't pay 1, break this forward. And this is another thing where if you can get it to stick, it's amazing. Forcing your opponent to keep paying CP just to keep their existing forts. The problem is, it's just not gonna stay there for very long. We actually did do an entire video about this, and one of the biggest issues we found was Diabolos, who can take it out fairly easily. And that's not the only thing that's going to be able to. Again, another card that's really good if you can stick it there, but you're probably not going to actually stick it there, which means it's not actually very good. In at number 11, Rosa. 3 cost, 7,000 power. If a forge you control is dealt damage, reduce the damage by 1,000. That gives pretty nice protection to all of your forts. And when you form a party and attack, you activate Rosa. Rosa can attack more than once this turn. So potentially you can be sitting there joining in parties of other people boosting attack. We've then got Prey. It's a special ability. Discard a Rosa from your hand. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a water card, activate all the forges you control. I think there's enough here to make this a pretty good consideration in water decks. I think there's quite a bit to like here. In at number 10, we've got Chaos Mobius. A 6 cost 9,000 power creature. When it enters the field, if the cost paid to play it included fire, you deal 5,000 to all the forges your opponent controls. If the cost paid to play it included ice, your opponent discards a card from their hand. And if the cost included lightning, your opponent selects 1 monster he or she controls and put it into the break zone. Surely some potential here in Ice Fire decks, which currently make up 7% of the meta, which is not too bad. Dealing 5,000 to all the forges your opponent controls, getting them to discard a card from their hand, which is a very Ice thing to do. It's alright. Not loving the lightning so much. Your opponent might not have a monster, and even if they do, it's in their control. And lightning seeing very, very little play with either fire or ice, and this really does strike me as the kind of character that you need to try and get 2 of these skills off to really make it worth having in there. I could see this seeing a bit of love. In at number 9, we've got Ultros. Now, Ultros I love purely in terms of the design of the card and how well it works as a self-contained card. When you attack, you deal 2,000 damage and 1,000 more damage for each card named Ultros in your break zone to all the forwards your opponent controls. When it's put from the field into the break zone, you can pay 2 water, search for a card named Ultros, and play it onto the field dulled. The issue is that it's a 5 cost, it's a little bit expensive, and it's facing competition from cards like Cloud of Darkness, which are really staples in water decks at the moment, and I don't think it's going to beat them out for space in the deck. Still love the design of the card though. In at number 8, we've got Ace. Ace is fun, 5 cost, 8,000 power. It's EX Burst. When Ace attacks, choose 1 forward the opponent controls, deal it 2,000 damage for each Job Class 0 Cadet forward you control. When Ace enters the field, reveal the top 7 cards of your deck, add up to 2 Job Class 0 Cadet other than card name Ace among them to your hand, shuffle the other card revealed, return them to the bottom of your deck. You've got a decent EX Burst, you've got some cheeky damage, and you've got a way to search out your other cadets. This is the kind of card whereby, if cadets are good, this is a wonderful card to put in a cadet deck, and if cadets are not good, then it's not the kind of card you want to put into cadet decks. At the moment, cadet decks aren't the most popular, but it's one to bear in mind if they come around. In at number 7, AZURE Dragon. It's a 5 cost, it's got 9,000 power, it's got an EX burst. When AZURE Dragon attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an ice card, add it to your hand. Discard 1 ice card, choose 1 character, freeze it. Discard 3 ice cards, choose 1 forward, break it. If nothing else, I love this for the EX burst. Is it going to get a space in your deck based on that? Potentially. I mean, 5 cost, 9,000 power's not too bad. You've got a little bit of draw and the opportunity to hurt some of your opponent's characters. Stop me if you've heard that before from an ice card. I'm in favour of this. In at number 6, the card whose order I changed around from the poll I put up on Facebook. I gave this one a bit of a boost. It's Meia. 3 cost, 7,000 power forward. At the beginning of your attack phase, select one of the 3 following actions. If you've received 5 points of damage or more, select up to 2 of the 3 following actions instead. Choose a forward. Until the end of the turn, it gets plus 1,000 power and first strike. Choose a forward, dull it. Choose 1 category Mobius forward other than Meia. It gains haste until end of turn. As soon as you got 5 points of damage for a 3 cost, this becomes really quite effective. Even before that, gives you some good options. It's not terribly expensive. Yeah. I think there's a pretty good reason why I bumped it up. As always, argue with me in the comments if you think I shouldn't have done. In at number 5, Rydia. Rydia's one of these whereby if it works out, it's going to be phenomenal. But this could work out a lot more than some of the cards on the back end of the list. 5 cost, 4,000 power, so not terribly strong. When Rydia enters the field, look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Reveal a summon other than light and dark among them. Cast it without paying the cost. And shuffle the other cards and return them to the bottom of your deck. Okay, fine. It's not always going to work. There are going to be times you don't hit a summons. But then again, 17% of decks at the moment are playing Phoenix, a 7 cost. Choose a forward of cost 3 or less in your break zone and a forward your opponent controls. You get to play one, and your opponent takes 8,000 damage. That's a pretty good summons at a pretty high cost, unless you're playing Rydia here, and essentially playing it for 5, but you've also got Rydia down, so you're not really playing it for 5. When you pull off tricks like that, it is going to be amazing. It's also got a tap ability. You pay X, look at the top X cards of your deck, reveal a summons of cost X or less, and cast it without paying the cost. Then shuffle the other cards and return them to the bottom of your deck. So it's not just when you play it, it can keep going. And you can do this on subsequent turns. The more you pay, the more you're willing to do. Now, to be fair, if you want to play Phoenix with this, you're going to have to pay the 7, which could be awkward. But you're going to know what's in your deck, and you're going to know your chances of hitting them, and you're going to be able to potentially play a summons that isn't even in your hand. I can see bonuses for this. In at number 4, Yiazmat. Not 100% sure on the pronunciation of that one. 9 costs, 10,000 power, so we officially have a big boy here. It's a forward, it's got an EX burst. When it enters the field or at the beginning of your main phase, select one of the 3 following actions. Choose a forward of cost 5 or more and break it. Choose a monster, break it. Activate all the characters you control. The thing is, even though it's super expensive, it's a 10,000 power forward. It's not going to be that easy to take off the field. And it's another one of these, like so many of the cards, whereby if you can just have it down for a turn or 2 and get that little bit of extra benefit, it's going to be a really, really good card. And oh, look. It's so powerful, it's probably going to stay. Yes, it's expensive, but it's hard to take out immediately. Also, if you hit this as an EX burst, that's going to be fun. In at number 3, Nael. 6 cost, 9,000 power forward. When he enters the field, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add up to 2 forwards among them to your hand. Put the rest into the break zone. Little bit risky, you could end up putting stuff in the break zone you don't really want to. Remove 1 backup from the game until end of the turn. Nael gains 2,000 power and haste. 11,000 power haste, that's pretty beefy. Remove 2 backups from the game. Choose 1 for deal it 8,000 damage. This is beefy. This has got some power behind it. This has a little bit of draw, a lot of power, a little bit of cheeky damage, quite a bit of cheeky damage to be fair. It's a very powerful card. In at number 2, we've got SORYU. 7 cost, 6,000 power, so again, we're kind of underpowered for a forward here. The cost required to cast your summons can be paid with CP of any element. Handy little bonus. When it enters the field, choose 1 forward the opponent controls, reveal the top 2 cards of your deck, deal it 1,000 damage for each CP required to play the revealed cards, and add them to your hand. So you're basically drawing 2 cards while potentially doing a large amount of damage to one of your opponent's forwards. That's pretty good. I mean, drawing 2 alone is pretty gosh darn nice. All the water decks are playing Viking at the moment, and Vikings drawing you a card. I mean, to be fair, Vikings also only a free cost, but that's not the point. This is drawing you 2 cards while doing a fair bit of cheeky damage. I like this, ladies and gentlemen. I like it a lot. But the number 1 legend from Opus 9, and I'll be honest with you, right, it wasn't particularly close in terms of the poll. This got 50 votes. SORYU got 36. It's Gabranth. And frankly, earns its spot at the top. It is a 4 cost, 5,000 power, so one of the cheaper legends on the list. It's got an EX burst. When it enters the field, you may search for 1 forward of cost 5 or more and add it to your hand. If you've received 6 points of damage or more, you turn into an 8,000 power brave forward. That's really good, especially when you only paid 4 CP to get it out onto the field. Then you add on the Sentence, the special ability here, whereby you got to discard a Gabranth from your hand and tap it, but then you choose a forward, deal it 3,000 damage, plus 1,000 more for each damage point you've received. Yeah, that's gonna do a lot. That's going to allow you to potentially sit there and just pick your opponent's forwards off if you're finding space for the three of them a couple times during the game. Plus, you've got a really good EX burst here as well, and you've got Search. And Search is really good. Earned its place at number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Earned its place at number 1. So there's my list of all the 4s ranked from Opus 9. As always, if you disagree with them, let me know in the comment section, nice and politely. Although do please remember that this list was very much made with the help of the community, so it's as much their fault as mine. And of course, if you want to make your own list in the comment section, please feel free to do so. I will love you for it. For now, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, where we talk about games like Final Fantasy and whatever other games take our fancy. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.